Please have a seat. We got a lot of great folks with us here today, and we're happy to be back. We do have our Lieutenant Governor, who you all know well from being in Miami, Jeanette Nunez. We have our Department of Transportation Secretary, Jared Perdue, Nicola LaCourie, Executive Director and CEO of Florida's Turnpike, Stacy Miller, District 6 Secretary for FDOT, and then we have Juan Sosa, who's a police officer with Miami-Dade Police Department. He's going to talk about our proposal today, what it means for him. We have our Senator, Ileana Garcia. We have Representative Danny Perez. We have Representative Demi Busada Cabrera, Representative Alex Rizzo. Are you a senator now? You got elected, right? So he got elected. He didn't have anyone even run against him. I mean, imagine that. Brian Avila, who's going to be a senator after the election, and then Representative David Barrero. So we appreciate all that they do up in Tallahassee to look out for the folks down here in Miami-Dade. And one of the things that we've been fortunate with Florida is, we kept the state open. We saved so many jobs and businesses, and people have had way more opportunities. In spite the efforts of some down here to lock kids out of school, we made sure the kids were in school, had an education, and we were able to avert a lot of the really devastating learning losses that you're seeing in California and Illinois and some of these states that really perform very poorly. Our unemployment rate today is less than it was prior to COVID, and we have more people employed than we did prior to COVID, which is not true in a lot of these other states where they haven't even recovered back to where they were, particularly when you talk about things that are important in this state like hospitality, restaurants, hotels. Some of those areas in different parts of the country have not gotten even close to back. In Florida, you look at that industry, it's doing better than it's ever done, and that means people that have the ability to put food on the table for their families. It means small businesses are able to succeed, and the result of all of that, even with having one of the lowest per capita tax burdens in the country, no state income tax, and having just signed the largest tax relief package in the history of the state, with all of that, we have by far the largest budget surplus in the history of the state of Florida, $22 billion. $22 billion. So we ended the last fiscal year of $102 billion for the budget, $22 billion surplus. Now they've had to finally say, you know what, this revenue's coming in so much faster, so they revised that in August. But even the revision, we beat the revision. That was a very high revision. And so our fundamentals in terms of, having a free state, making sure we're respecting taxpayers, spending your money wisely, all that stuff, has been very strong. So we have this big surplus. And the question is what do you do with that? Obviously, we're having some away for a rainy day because, I think Biden's doing his best to plunge this nation into a deep recession. And I hope that doesn't happen, and I think Florida will be better than some of the other states. But these are just things that prudence would justify, you take precautions for. But the biggest bite has been the inflation with the cost of groceries going up, energy, utilities. Gas is still very high. They act like it's so low because it has gone down because it was at heights we had never seen before. And we were fortunate. I mean, it's stupid that China's doing this. They're locking down in China still. That's causing demand globally to be lower than anticipated. The supply problems have not been solved. And so we anticipate by the end of the year beyond, you are probably going to see an increase in the price of oil. I hope not. I hope we see low gas prices again. But the reality is this is something that's biting. Housing, has gone up. Pretty much anything you can think of that a consumer or a worker would have to do has gone up under the Biden presidency. And so in Florida, our budget is like budget dust compared to what they're doing in Washington. They're printing trillions and trillions of dollars, and they were warned that if they did that, it would lead to inflation, and yet they did it anyways. So people really, I think, want relief, and so we did $1.2 billion in tax relief for this current year, which was very good. Things like, we have a 5, a 4, and a 2-year-old, so we're done with the 5 and 4. The 2 still a little bit in diapers. no tax on diapers at all now, or these baby supplies for the whole year. And we're going to talk more about doing that in future days, about what we're going to do going forward to make some of this stuff permanent. We did the back to school. We're going to have the fuel tax go in. We're going to reduce the fuel tax starting October 1st, something I really thought was important. So we've done a lot of stuff. So then I'm like, okay, we have the surplus. What can we do to help folks? So the first thing that we did, I think I announced it last week or the week before, is for SunPass and Florida Department of Transportation facilities, which is not everyone, and unfortunately, it's not a lot of the ones we have here in Miami-Dade County. But for all of those, I was able, through administrative action, to institute a toll rebate program. So the commuters who are doing, a certain number of tolls a month are getting an automatic 25% reduction and rebate in the amount of tolls. We have surpluses in the turnpike and all this, so we were able to do that and return some of that money to the folks who are having to pay the tolls. And so that was a nice relief, but it was not every single toll facility, because we didn't have the executive authority to do that when you have expressway authorities in Dade and Central Florida and whatever. So we said, all right, this is a good idea. I'm glad we did it. It's relatively short term. We need to do something bolder with the help of the legislature. And so what we're proud to be able to announce today is, with part of that budget surplus, we are going to seek major toll relief for every single toll facility in the state of Florida. This will be for all commuters throughout the state of Florida. It'll be over 750,000 people that will be able to realize this savings, and that will include everything here in the Miami-Dade Expressway Authority. So under this proposal, any commuter that uses our transponders like SunPass or EasyPass and that have a certain number of tolls, we think probably about 40 for just showing how many people are doing it every day for work, but the legislature could obviously move that around if need be. But if you are a bona fide commuter, you're getting a 50% discount in your tolls for the entire year, and that's going to make a big difference. So this will save the average commuter throughout the state of Florida $550 over the course of the year. And honestly, down here, it may even be more, because some people spend a lot of money on tolls every single month. And so you take whatever you're doing, you slash that in half. I know there's some people that spend thousands on tolls, so that's going to be $1,000 plus tax relief for those folks. And so we think it's important that, we've been good stewards of the economy and the taxpayer dollars. We've been blessed to have a lot of people invest in Florida. People have wanted to move here. Our revenues are strong, and we need to return those revenues back to taxpayers. And this toll relief, I